In 2023, Lord Jupiter, the god of prosperity, wealth, luck, abundance, and goodness, will move into the sign of Taurus, an earth sign that can offer up each of you in your lives some new area of prosperity, abundance, faith, hope, and expansion. We're going to talk about that for your sign, as well as tie it into his 3-time trine of Venus while she's going through Leo for 4 months. All of this is exceedingly rare. Jupiter only does this Taurus stint every 12 years. Venus doing a 4-month stay because of retrogradation in Leo, also quite unusual. So we're going to talk about how it impacts your sign. Now, this is not going to be a worldly prediction video. I'm not going to focus on that. Instead, it's all about your rising sign, most accurate, sun sign and moon sign, secondly accurate. I have a whole video coming out about shocking predictions for 2023, and I'm going to talk about some gnarly financial market stuff that is destined to occur, unfortunately, with that Jupiter placement as well, based on the history. But in your personal life, we're not all stock markets. We'll have a different story, and it can be quite good as well. Lastly, Jupiter will align with the North Node, exceedingly rare as well. And I'm going to bring these stories into your sign. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac, not the Sidereal Zodiac. I'm using ancient tools and techniques because I'm mostly a Hellenistic or ancient traditional astrologer. I use Babylonian, Persian. I use everything that's old because old is better, frankly, and wise. Maybe I'm a bit of a stickler here. And I use whole sign houses with my clients, but every astrologer on YouTube is using whole sign houses in order to delineate your sun sign, moon sign readings. This is why your rising sign, by the way, is always going to be the most accurate, because it is when you came into the world. It represents your body, represents your identity, represents you. Okay. So listen for your rising. If you don't know it, check my description box below. Free YouTube video tutorial. You just have to download it, teaching you how to cast your chart in whole sign houses and find your rising sign and look at your chart in a whole sign house sky using free online software. So one of the things I want to talk about at this point is I want to talk about what Jupiter is, because if Jupiter is going into, and also check my description box, Sky Reader class, a bunch of stuff below, you know the drill, guys. There's everything you need to know in the description box below the video. So I'm recording this in December of 2022. And what I want to talk about is, what does Jupiter do? He expands things, okay? He makes them larger. Like that's when Jupiter and Mars are together, you can have a big explosion, like the explosion in the port in Lebanon was a Jupiter-Mars event. So he can make the bad things bigger, the good things bigger. I mean, unfortunately, you know, Jupiter can expand tumors and stuff. I mean, he just makes them larger. He brings endings, not just beginnings. And that's because he's sort of like dispeller of darkness guru. I mean, you know, the bringer of blessed endings, especially in relationship. But for the most part, we consider him to be the greater benefic planet. He brings goodness, especially for those of you born in the day, but we all receive benefits from Jupiter. He has a kind of a way of showing up as a guide, a teacher, mentor, guru type person in our lives. Sometimes he outpictures that way. And often he shows up in times of personal prosperity and luck. And so where this placement goes, Jupiter in your Taurus whole sign house, is going to be important. I get questions all of the time, because you get prosperity, expansion, growth, and luck from people saying, well, you said that, you know, I'm an Aries rising and Taurus is my second house, but when I look at my sky, it's not. It's Gemini. This is because you're looking at Placidus, Coke, or Campanus house systems, probably Placidus default on astro.com or something like that. And Placidus are going to give you unequal houses. They're going to be northern and southern latitudes, and winter for especially, or extreme seasons, going to be skewed, and often you will not have what I'm saying. So don't look at your chart and go, Lori, you're wrong, or to any astrologer on YouTube. It's because every YouTube astrologer is using conceptually a whole sign house system in order to make delineations for you. And actually this whole sign house system is ancient and very accurate, and it actually works better when you look at your chart in whole sign houses. You'll see yourself in a whole new way. All right. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. So let's continue. One of the things I want to definitely talk about is how this North Node transit, like the North Node is moving through the sky and only meets up with Jupiter in the sky on a synodic cycle, meaning the two of them come together in the 19-year cycle of the nodes moving, or 18 and a half years of the nodes moving into new signs, 12 years Jupiter moving into new signs. And just because of different things like retrogradations, the cycle is kind of interestingly rhythmic. I wrote it down because I was curious. It's literally like 94 years, 36 years, 94 years, 36 years. So it kind of rhythms like that. So the last time Jupiter in Taurus met with Rahu, the north node of fate and destiny that expands what it touches, was in 1929. So that was actually the last time 94 years ago. And it'll happen again 36 years from now in 2059. Now, well, I don't want to do general prediction here because I really want to make this a video about you. And I have a big, long hour-and-a-half video coming out soon that is going to be about big, shocking predictions, good and bad, for 2022 and 23, I should say. Will say this, in 1929, we had a stock market collapse, right? The big crash. And it happened in the United States, and it happened, to occur, I believe, in the fall of September, maybe, of 1929. But I will say that North Node and Jupiter came together that year in May of 2029, and it looked like an amplification of currencies. It looked like a massive run up in the stock market as well. I mean, it was basically irrational exuberance, and so that's a combination of the North Node will take whatever it touches and make it bigger, good and bad. Jupiter already makes things bigger. And now you can look at this in your chart when we get going as an exceptional untoward amount of goodness, which will be coming through the sky around June the 1st next year for each of us, give a week before and after. But in the history of the finances, because Taurus is the workforce in the USA chart, and just the concept of Taurus represents currency and resources and material wealth and stuff like that, this has not been a good sign, not a good symbol. So 1929, this preceded the stock market crash of 1929 and the depression that followed. In 1799, a similar thing occurred. Believe it or not, you can't make this up. Well, let's go back in time. Sorry, 1893, I should say, 1893. That was the last time it happened before 1929. And that was called the panic crash in the New York Stock Exchange that started a depression. I'm going to go into details for another video, but that happened March of 1893. And then everything began to collapse in May of 1893. And finally, the last bit of the story is 1799, we had that last time North Node, Jupiter connected in Taurus, and we had the Hamburg crisis, was a big liquidity crisis. It led to 82 banking houses shutting down, led to 150 firms going insolvent, Hamburg in Germany, okay? It's even got a really cool story about a sunken gold ship because England tried to help Hamburg, and then the ship sunk and the treasure's still never been found, and this gold could have saved the day, but it never made it to the shore. So liquidity crisis, a bank run, bank shutting down. Okay, so you're seeing a pattern here, right? So I'm giving you just a general warning that it's not a good idea to think because the Santa Claus rally or the markets start to rebound and boom away, let's say in April of May next year or after January, that you can count on this to last. Not based on history. So be cautious with your money, be careful with your investing. If that's something that you do, I'm just going to say, and each time, not to get you worried, and if I was, let me tell you something, in 1929, in 1893 and 1799, these led to depressions. Okay. So especially the 1893 and the 1929 post effect. Now, somebody, we're going to get to your sign, I promise. Somebody said to me, too depressing. I couldn't watch it. And this guy's kind of trolled a couple of videos of mine and really gnarly energy, but I get that sometimes, and I'm like, well, it's not depressing. It's realistic. I'm not that girl that's going to go, it is in your ascension right now to rise as a soul to the highest level of your vibrational frequency in the galactic center as the gamma rays bombard us. And even though that may be happening, and it probably is, astrology is about what's happening here on Earth. It's like going to show you the code or the plot line of what's happening here on Earth. And we're not all just ascending or rapturing up because planets are doing things. We're here on Earth, or we're here in the matrix, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a simulation myself. So we're going to talk about the fact that you can expect some financial calamity because of histories. And I could go back and keep tracking this. And I all the way back. I went to 1502, which will be my larger video. And every 36 and 94 years, there seems to be a financial calamity in the world. FYI. Okay, so let's go ahead now and talk about the better news, because we don't want to be all bummed out. Venus is a benefic planet. She brings love, art, beauty, money, goodness, and all kinds of sweetness, and just luck as well. And Jupiter will form this really cool energy where he's going to, well, it's cool. It's a square. He's going to square Venus, square Venus, square Venus. All right. He's doing it from applying, like he's moving toward Venus. So he's got the superior position as he moves toward her. This is apparently very good. Now I learned this from my teacher, Adam Ellenboss, shout out, watched a video about him talking about Venus recently and how in contact with Jupiter, can't remember which video it was, but anyway, I just remembered in the ancient world, they really loved Jupiter applying to Venus, the god of justice, law, the lawgiver, truth, wisdom, and all that, and didn't like Venus applying to Jupiter, which is wantonness and, all of that. And that could be a cultural thing, it could be about, women versus men, but whichever way, the way Jupiter's applying to Venus, he's moving toward her, forming a 90-degree angle called a square. It is mostly auspicious in terms of its directionality, and even though it's a square, which is a tension angle, the nature of Mars, it could simply mean taking action or bold action, or powerful decisions are being made that are highly auspicious in your life, because with two benefics involved, there's probably something good trying to happen. Okay. In Indian astrology, when Jupiter and Venus are conjunct, that's a planetary war. But normally, this is not what we're talking about anyway. It's a square. In Western astrology, they go, oh, well, yay, lucky day. But maybe not so. Maybe not so. Okay, so what I want to talk about then, I know that Jupiter will be in Taurus until May of 2024. If I didn't say that up front, I apologize. But starting in May 16th of 23, to May 16th of 24, you're going to have an extended period of time with Jupiter blessing your whole sign Taurus house based on your rising sign, or derivatively your sun and moon sign. When we do your sun and moon, we're pretending the sun is the first house and the moon is in the first house, that sign that they're in, and we're acting as if it's a rising sign sun and a rising sign moon. And that's how that kind of delineation works, okay? Sun sign can be about your emotions, your mom, your safety and security and home needs, your emotional set point. The sun can be about your father figures, your purpose, your career, and your conscious ambitions and directions in life. Okay, so those are ways to suss it. Your rising sign will be about everything in your life. Not just it's all about you. It's the only house out of 12 that's all about you. I'm looking at my notes to think if there's anything else I want to say before we move on. I'm going to just, if you bear with me, and I promise you, we will be talking all signs. And this is Ren Butler, my teacher in archetypal astrology's Archetypal Universe, Ren Butler book. I really adore his book, and I really use it as a resource when I want to look at the archetypal combinations of planets, meaning the general sort of big brushstroke vibe when two planets interact with each other. It doesn't matter whether it's a square or not, right? So we're going to pull up the Venus-Jupiter story out of his amazing book. And if you don't have this book and you want to get deeper into astrology, I highly recommend it. And my teacher, Adam Ellenboss, also on his videos, I studied with him for the first time in 2018. I took his 1-year program. I'd been doing non-traditional astrology before that. Anyway, on the side of my life, actually, not as my staple. Venus-Neptune, Venus-Jupiter. Apologies. Venus-Jupiter coming up. If you just, there we go. So Venus-Jupiter, principles thereof, feelings of grand happiness and enjoyment. Remember, this is going to happen in one area of your life when we get to your all signs. Feelings of grand happiness and enjoyment, positive and supportive relationships, gorgeous and expansive beauty, impressive taste and style, the glory of love, because Venus is a goddess of love affairs, tendencies toward rich living and indulgence. This is a shadow side. Social ambition and snobbery, cloying sweetness and friendliness, a gaudy and overblown aesthetic, habitual laziness and passivity. When I think of Jupiter Venus, I think of Elton John. You know what I mean? Like really sparkles and big glasses. And that's very, fashion Venus, Jupiter expansive. Okay. And then I like the way he writes, about everything in here. And I'm just going to pull up a few things that jump out at me and that you might like. So here's a quote that he thinks is very Venus-Jupiter connection by Samuel Johnson. It's better to live rich than to die rich. So living big, writ large, living la vida loca, maybe. Robert Browning, with it. And Robert Browning was born with a Venus conjunct Jupiter. So he's talking about quotes from people who have a strong Venus Jupiter conjunction or connection in their chart. The beautiful things that adorn the world. Okay, is another quote from someone born with that stuff. So shopping and luxury and extravagance and rich living can be shadow sides, Tammy Faye Baker. But in general, you know, it's more positive than not this time around because Jupiter is applying to Venus. And he uses like goddesses like Aphrodite and Ishtar, Pluto's beautiful and the good, and religious decoration and trappings as some symbolic archetypes as well. Anything else I would tell you about? For self-exploration, this can be about abundant and I'm not going to keep reading because okay, I'm not a reader of books when I'm on my channel. Thank you all for being here. If you're in the live premiere watching as we get ready to hit the all signs, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. As I say every single time, it's just an algorithmic hack and it really helps the channel grow. And my last video I got so many people in, 209 people watching in the premiere. And we had a contest and one of my regulars, LA Tellers with Scotland, won. Yay. But I got people to hit that button and I kept reaffirming it. And that was one of my best, fastest rising videos in terms of reaching like 10,000 views in only 2 days. And it really, see, the algorithm loved how many people were liking it in the premiere and how many people were in the premiere. And it's all a game. It's all a game. Hack the algorithm. I am shadow banned on Twitter, by the way. Someone said, why are you doing astrology on Twitter? Well, first of all, my main account is shadow banned. I'm 90% sure it was before Elon got there because of my, what is it? Iconoclastic, you know, rebellious statements about things in the world. And I might have to start a new Twitter just for YouTube, just for this kind of stuff. And because I was a magazine editor for years, like online magazines like Elephant Journal, Love It Department, Love and Relationship. And then I was Good Men Projects, senior editor, all that stuff. And I had my Twitter for my editorship days, goes back to 2012. Anyway, let's get going. This is Blue Water. Thanks for liking me in the premiere, hitting that like button, subscribing if you would. Check my description box for sales, classes, specials. Join my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter, get everything discounted with me, readings, classes. Check out my Patreon for $5 a month. You get all this content from YouTube ad-free before everybody else early, like, 3 days to a week usually. Okay. Okay, let's get moving. So the first thing I want to do, I was going to start with Aries. And before I do, no, I'm not even going to show you the sky because, you know, what are you going to see? Jupiter sitting in Aries is not going to be very useful for you. And I can't advance it through all the events. So we'll just do me talking to you instead, if you don't mind, if that doesn't bother you guys today. It's just like advancing the screen is not going to be useful with this kind of content for a year-long stuff. Now, we're starting off with Aries and then we're moving synchronous in zodiacal order through the sky. I will be dark, I'm sure, by the time I get here. I might try to move my mic and stuff to a window, but I'm in a kitchen. And bottom line is I'm in the season of winter in Vancouver, Canada, and it's really gnarly how fast it gets dark at only 3:20 or something right now. Okay, let's get rolling. Aries, Sun, Aries moon, and Aries rising sign. What you have going on here in your sky is that Jupiter has left the Aries sky where he was from December 20th to May the 16th, and then he's now done with you. Now I've got a whole video coming out just for that whole Aries story separately to talk about that when he moves on December 20th into Aries. So just you know watch that separately. It'll come out after this video. So your second house for Aries risings, especially Sun and Moon secondarily, is your money house, earnings house, possessions house. And when I mean possessions, it's things that you own. You know, you own a sofa, you own a bike, you own a car maybe, and sometimes it can be property. I found that it's true, even though you're supposed to have only movable possessions here. I'm sorry. I've seen it look like big transit to the second, people buy and sell real estate. So there is that. I mean, if you own a home, it's definitely connected to that as well. Or you want to buy a home. So for you guys, there's a lot of lushness in your money story. Now there is that irrational exuberance that could happen. Watch out from May 20th to June 13th with an epicenter around June 1st as a North Node and Jupiter come together, because Jupiter has a tendency not only to expand your earnings and your possessions, but to also help you spend them, or, you know, be a generous philanthropist or give money away in some kind of good spirited, good willed way. And all of a sudden you're like, what did I do? I gave my money away. I should have held on to it, or my possession. Oh, I'm feeling generous. I'm going to give away my house, my car. So just be careful. in that window of May 20th, let's say, did I say roughly May 20th to June 13th with epicenter June 1st? Be cautious with extra generosity leading to regret later on. On the other hand, you're not the stock market, right? And Jupiter North Node just simply means a double bonus points on the game board, expanding your possession and money story. So because this is opposite the 8th house of finances from stock investments, inheritances, investments, bank loans, mortgages, whatever, that kind of money could deliver an expansion of wealth to you, tax rebates, your spouse's money, a business partnership. So you're going to see this monetary wealth expansion become available to you anytime after May 16th, really amplifying May 20th through to June 13th. And then we have that Venus story on the side, which I really like. I mean, Venus and Leo for 4 months. Yay. How exciting. June 4th or 5th or 3rd, maybe around there, through to October 8th. And so that's a long story of Venus in the Aries people's 5th house of children, money, luck, gaming, speculation, winning a lottery, going to the casino, some kind of gaming, winning money, or things to do with, lush romance, superpowered romance, and also maybe a connection to enjoyment and play and fun and pleasure with your children. And if you're an artist, you're on fire with creativity because you're making beautiful things. Now, this is a longer story, but it's windows of 3 times that Jupiter will touch down with Venus in a perfected 90-degree square from your money house to your enthusiastic children love romance house and independent business enterprise. Anyone like me having an independent business, this is the 5th house. Date number 1 is June the 10th. Date number 2 is August 21st. And date number 3 is September 16th. The first one is Venus and Jupiter both in direct motion, and it's happening around the 5th degree of the sign of Leo and the sign of Taurus, meaning, of course, if you have planets in that area of Taurus and Leo, you have to account for what they're doing around the 5th degree. You also want to know that if your rising sign is in the first 6 or 7 degrees of Aries, or your sun and moon is within 6 degrees or 7 degrees of Aries, this is going to be a very, very precise goodness vibe for you, especially around the 5th house matters. 5th house is fertility. Venus is a fertility goddess. Any Aries wanting to have children, trying to get pregnant, this is so luscious. Jupiter is a fertility god. All said and done, a combination is great for having children in this window of time. And then on August 21st, we have a retrograde Venus going back over old ground and meeting with Jupiter. And this is happening for everybody around the 15th degree. And therefore, if your sun, moon, or rising is anywhere near the 15th degree, give it 3 degrees on either side. This is exceptionally powerful for you. But all this whole 3-part story affects every Aries. And lastly, on September the 16th, that's when Venus will also do this one more time. And this time she's conjunct Juno, and it's all happening with Juno's blessings. And Juno is the goddess of commitment and committed love stories. So let me just say it this way. If you have been dating somebody, because Venus can bring dating and enjoyment and pleasure and leisure travel in your 5th house, and it's been an ongoing thing during the Venus transit, which will start, as I said, in the beginning of June, then it's very possible what we're seeing on September the 16th, as she's conjunct Juno, the goddess of commitment, moving forward now. And even though it's a Jupiter retrograde in the 2nd house of earnings and voice and vocation, there is a suggestion of an amplification of some love story towards commitment of some sort. So that's really good if you're looking for committed love, and some dating events or some romance events lead to that. That's what I'm going to say about it. And it's happening again at 15 degrees. This 15 degrees is really active. So again, you got planets around 15 degrees Taurus or Leo, they could be involved in the story, or your rising sign, sun or moon is near that 15th degree. This is hitting you pretty intensely. So the mid Aries are getting a lot of the juice, or sun and moon. Like I've got my sun at 14 Aries, right? Almost 15. So I'm really feeling this. I'll let you know if I'm committing to some love story at this point. And it's a suggestion with Jupiter in the 2nd that this love story benefits you financially. Not that you're looking for a sugar daddy or sugar mama, but there's something fluid and good about the money with regards to this story. And it really, everyone's chart is different, how this is going to look in your life. So, but you know, the gist is there. So I hope that's useful. And lastly, and it's going to be a little bit of stuff for each sign, hopefully around the same lines. Just note that you've got can do, go getter, momentum, super luck by your actions and choices working for you around July the 30th. And that's because that's going to be a Jupiter, and it's a little bit more before, week before July 30th, the week after. You're kind of like able to, with Jupiter in your second house of earnings in a Earth trine to Mars in his joy in your sixth house, right, of work and health and work stuff, really hyper succeed or exceedingly succeed in work efforts, or to dramatically increase and improve your health through food and food substances that you eat, because Jupiter there is about what you put in your mouth in your second, and Mercury is in the house of sickness. So this is like bonification vibe. It's good for your health, especially regarding what you eat and changing your diet maybe, but it's also really good for kind of like a super go-getter, can do, work hard, play hard, get your money, make your job work for you, etc. Okay. Moving to the next sign. That will be you, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign, you earthy Tauruses. It's happening in the house of you. How cool is that? This rare North Node conjunction that we talked about in the early part of the video hasn't happened since 1929, unless you were born before 1929 and listening to this video. This is an entirely brand new thing in the sky that's impacting you very personally. Your ascendant is your body, your mind, your ideas of yourself, your identity. It's the place that is the helm of the chart, and it influences career, significant others, and home, and where you live. It's kind of a pivotal energy for you. And so, while you may think you know what this is, you've never lived through it. So we don't know, do we? We're just making some educated guesses. Now, you've been through something else that happened. The North Node co-joined in the sky, all right, this is another synodic cycle with Uranus in Taurus, which hasn't happened as well since the last time the North Node and Uranus got together was in Pisces in 2007. And this time the cycle happened for the first time in your life in the end of July, beginning of August, okay, in the house of you. North Node expanding, Uranus, shock, awe, change, dramatic shifts of direction, unexpected things. And that's already been playing out because that energy last week of July, beginning of August, kind of has a 15-year rollout. Your life's going in a new direction. Do you know what it is yet? What was going on at the end of July and the beginning of August? And now we had this other rare event for the Tauruses. Hello, Jupiter is conjuncting the North Node between approximately, okay, May 20th and June 13th. You're going to really feel this. It's not going to be like, it's not like you're going to not notice. Things are shifting dramatically. I don't know if it could be like, honestly, for some of you, massive changes. Like, I am a blank. I am a housewife. I am a carpenter. I am a teacher. Those identities can be really getting ready to bust out of some old squishy containment. Like, everything wants to blow out. Everything wants to get bigger. Everything wants to expand in your identity. And so for some of you, it's like going bigger, going home, really just breaking open to a new, powerful, incredible sense of who you really are, or who you are meant to be in the world. Now, it is tense. It is not easy to like have a North Node Jupiter in you, but you could get very overweight very quickly. You could be pregnant. Something about your physicality is expanding. And because Jupiter is in the house of your body from May of 24 to 23 to 24, it's often a fertility transit, or people bulk and muscle up, or they gain weight. So watch out for that. Not that there's anything wrong with gaining weight. You may actually need to gain weight, but just be conscious of what I'm speaking of. There's often a sense of, everything goes rapid and blows up quickly. Like there's an inflationary vibe in your identity. So maybe be careful, because Jupiter brings you really positive, I feel good about me, super feel goods, right? You're more than hopeful, more than optimistic. I believe your theme song is, I believe in miracles. That's what the Tauruses are saying, in May and June. Be careful that you're not inflated there, and that you're not being unrealistic about something, that you have that song singing in the background. And, this is happening at 3 degrees of Taurus. So for those of you who may have, your rising sign, sun and moon, close to 3 degrees of Taurus, right? So let's say up to 6 degrees of Taurus, maybe even 10, 0 to 10. This is really influential for those Taurus energies, right? My daughter has a 10-degree Taurus sun, maybe I'll include up to 10 degrees receiving this bounteous energy. Jupiter brings wealth and prosperity, and yet it's in the house of you. So possibly, and luck, you are lucky. Your luck has expanded. You make your own prosperity, and you're capable of succeeding as a leader, a teacher, or a guide on steroids. If leading, teaching, guiding are things that you are or would like to do, this is great for you. Let's just touch down on the Venus story, and I hope this video isn't 2 hours long. Let me just check my lighting. I might have to move somewhere where I can get to a window. Let's keep going for now. That, or I'll just be in the dark. I'll just be talking to you like my last video in the dark. So Venus. Okay, let's talk about love and money goddess Venus, beauty, friendliness, a bunch of other sweet things, fashion and all the other things she rules. So Jupiter will be in a conversation with her, which I mentioned earlier. And I know you guys know that I mentioned it earlier, but let's just reiterate very briefly if you didn't watch the beginning. When Jupiter is applying to Venus, it means that Venus gets lots of benefits. Like it's a good way to get Venus things going in a powerful, no harm done, super juicy way without the wantonness of Venus applying to Jupiter, according to the ancients. Whether that's true or not, who knows? So with this energy of the Jupiter story, touching down and talking with Venus and Leo, there is a reminder that this is not a Venus placement where she stays more than like 3 weeks to a month every year. And yet this time around, she will be there from like around June the 4th through to October 8th. So it's extremely long duration of time that Venus will bless your house at home. So for your Taurus rising especially, your home life is going to be really beautiful, and you may decorate, beautify, renovate, construct, especially June, July, as Mars joins your home. You may buy a home, sell a home, change a home, move a home, whatever happens in those areas of your life, June, July, August, September, they're exceedingly positive for you. At the end of the day, Jupiter is bringing you the luck you need to make that happen because he's in the house of you. And there's some touch points around June the 10th. And then August 21st and September 16th, as we do a direct version around the 5th degree. Venus is in direct motion. So obviously, Taurus is with planets, sun, moon, and rising anywhere in the first at like 8 or 9 degrees. Really feel this first bout of yay home, yay you, yay luck. Then you have the August 21st time frame, which is going to be retrograding, and that can also, and I wrote 15 degrees. Yeah. And that's also, again, the same story, but going back and deepening it, act 2, more furthering it on. And then September 16, Jupiter is now retrograde, but Venus is going direct, conjunct Juno. That's about commitment, contracts, vows, and agreements. And Juno, Venus in the 4th house is like signing on the dotted line, agreeing to buy, agreeing to sell, maybe agreeing to lease or rent even possibly, and feeling fortunate and lucky. And lastly, for you, think about the Jupiter trine Mars window of time around July the 30th, give or take a week on either side. You are absolutely able to get what you need done when it comes to things to do with your children, your romantic life, your things to do with your creativity, things to do with fertility. I mean, because now, not to worry you, Mars does create sometimes miscarriages, or you choose to abort a pregnancy when he's in the 5th house, which is happening around that July 30th. And Jupiter brings blessed events or blessed endings. So not to worry you, but if you did have a miscarriage, for example, under those circumstances, it's to your benefit, is all I'm saying. It wasn't the right time. There could have been something wrong with the child, and, it wasn't healthy enough for the pregnancy to continue, which is usually what happens anyway. But yeah. But anyway, those are tips. And I wish you the best, Taurus, in 2023, reminding you this transit lasts till May of 24. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. And let's see if I have any light left. I know I could turn the kitchen lights on in a minute and see what happens. I'll probably look garish, but let's give it a try. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. I am not a Gemini rising, but my progressed ascendant is there. People always ask me this. So you can progress your ascendant basically by going every age is a degree. So go ahead, like, at 60 years old, you're very likely having an ascendant in a sign 2 over from you, or for example, there's many ways to do it, but I mean, it's basic common math or whatever to go ahead by solar archetype, a degree a year. Now, one of the things I want you to know about your story is that you're having this energy of Venus and Jupiter. But let's talk about Jupiter first with the North Node, but impacting 2 houses, right? And this is the whole point of the story. What 2 houses of your chart are being most influenced at this time? Okay. So number 1, the first thing is it's going to be your Leo zone of influence, where Venus is going for June through to October 8th in your 3rd house. This is exciting. This is about connecting with siblings, enjoying aunts, uncles, and cousins, having really beautiful travel opportunities, learning something new that you really enjoy. All that's going on for 4 months. But then there's this Jupiter piece, which is what I'm loving. It's Jupiter in a very spiritual place for you. Jupiter is in the 12th house, and he's very good at bringing you spiritual teachers and wisdom teachers and opening up your spiritual life. And that's, again, May of 3 to 24, and also bringing you new areas of learning, because from the 12th house, he is in angular relationship to 9th house of colleges and campuses and academia, 3rd house of skills-based learning. My feeling is, with the fact he's in an applying direction toward Venus in the skills-based learning, a lot of you Gemini people are going to find yourself enrolled in some kind of very enjoyable, very lovely learning curriculum, finding out what you want to learn, signing up for it, or actually learning it. Okay. And that can take place because of the Jupiter Venus energy. And that's kind of ongoing, really, and like June, July, August, September into early October. So it covers going back to school even in September. Before I talk a little bit more about Venus, because I sidewinded away, this North Node Jupiter conjunction that last happened in 1929 in your 12th house is very subtle. It's not going to look like big life change circumstances. This is called one of the aversion houses, or in modern astrology, semi-sextile from the ascendant. So this can be big spiritual awakenings, dreams at night that are powerful, the massive undoing of any of your addictions, and dramatically changing directions around those things. Certainly, there's all kinds of possibilities here. Some of you may travel to foreign lands and be highly expanded by that. One of the ways that can play out. And again, that's playing out kind of May 20th to approximately June the 13th, with an epicenter around June 1st. Okay, so possibly this is all about an expansive, exciting, and destined fated change regarding our amplification of something to do with a journey to a foreign country that really opens up something powerful in your life. It's something very precious and something very rare. And lastly, spiritual teachers, guides, gurus, and mentors are very Jupiter in the 10th. And if you're inclined to find a spiritual teacher, and why the hell not, Pluto went into your house of spiritual teachers, gurus, and religion March 23rd to June 11th. So he's seasoned you a bit there. Some of you may find yourself off in India studying with a teacher, or off in Morocco, in like South America, studying with a shaman, who knows. The dates for the Venus Jupiter thing, which is going to amplify that 3rd house of siblings, trips, travels, and educations, and extended family, and enjoyment of your neighborhood, and pleasure in your neighborhood. And a lot of you look like you're traveling too, approximately with Mars in there, June into mid-July. Mars will join Venus. It looks like you're traveling in that time as well, maybe with siblings, or just for fun, or with extended family members, or with close friends from your childhood. But anyway, it really looks here like the dates you need to keep your finger on the pulse of is June 10th, August 21st, and September 16th. It's Venus, 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 Jupiter, Jupiter, Jupiter. The first one is at 5 degrees, where Venus is moving direct. So if you have an ascendant anywhere around 5 degrees, or your sun and moon anywhere around 5 degrees of Gemini, this is hitting you most directly on June the 10th. And then, and give or take a few days, always on either side. On around August 21st, give or take a few days, there's a retrograde Venus going back over ground to deepen the onset of what she started at 15 degrees. 15 degrees. You got it, your sun, moon, and rising sign near 15 degrees. Gemini, you're really feeling it. And last but not least, Venus is going to be doing her 3rd connection with Jupiter. But now on September 16th, she's going direct. She's finishing up this story. Jupiter's retrograding, but he's still in a connection to Venus. He's moving into the degree where he's going to share a degree with her, which is 15 degrees. And yet this time, Venus is conjunct Juno, the goddess of committed loves, vows, and agreements, sometimes contracts as well. Certainly is often about love. So possibly you go on some kind of learning or trip junkets if you're single. And by the time we get to September 16th, you're making some kind of contractual agreement or commitment to something. Of course, this could be having signed on the dotted line to go back to school. This could be a love story that emerged on a trip or something like that. All right. And you're killing it in terms of ambition, drive, purpose, and decisions and choices get amplified and supported with lucky breaks and positive developments anytime around July 30th as you get a Jupiter trine Mars, but it's because it's Jupiter trining Mars from Taurus. It's kind of special, hasn't happened for 12 years in this way. And what I like about this is that this makes you feel like you are going to be able to do anything you want in the third house with great success and incredible momentum. Mars in the third house likes to travel, road trip. Mars in the third house would like to make changes around things to do with education or be passionate about something you're learning or really making movements to really strongly journey or connect with siblings. Those are themes going on as well. Now let's get going and move us to the next sign. And I think I can do this before it's pitch black in my house. I'm really hoping. And I wonder if I move me to the dining room. I'm going to go 2 more signs. And if it's really dark in here, I mean, I'll flick the lights on. And then if not, I'll move to the dining room. Yes, I'm moving around a lot and my lighting kit is in storage. So I'm always relying on daylight. And then unfortunately, there's not much of it right now. All right. Cancer sun, Cancer moon, and Cancer rising sign. In the story of you, this a momentous movement of Jupiter, who has not been in the sign of Taurus for 12 years, is back again. And I should have said when in 12 years, back in 2011, 12, basically. Sorry about that. But anyway, that's another video I'm going to do for the long video. Jupiter here in your 11th house of good spirit is in his joy. This is a house where Jupiter celebrates being Jupiter and things go swell for him. So he gets to be very Santa Claus, ho, 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 fairy godmother, because this could be a hopeful wishes and dreams and long-term plans house as well. Maybe he's going to, like genie in a bottle, give you your wishes. It's possible. He also can bring windfalls because pennies from heaven and karmic rewards belong here. And you may have some success financially. Now, Jupiter is expanding what he touches. The North Node does the same. Great gains from your career belong here and favors from friends and power. So great favors from friends and power, expanding your great gains in your career, wishes and hopes and dreams coming true, pennies from heaven and windfalls, all possible for you, especially very early on when we talk about money, because we have Mercury co-present there in May as well and into early June. One of the things I'd say here, and remember the dates I told you about earlier, like May 20th to June the 13th with an epicenter around June 1st. This is where all this sweetness is landing in your world. This is the house of the eldest sibling, and the eldest sibling may benefit you dramatically with some news or information that supports you financially and creates a sense of a windfall in your life. Possibly as well, you could be thinking of expanding your social networks and groups, and you get opportunities to do so because you're asked to be the guide or the teacher in a larger network of belonging, or you affiliate with a very destined and exciting group of belonging, the yoga crew, the Society of Astrologers, and you're amplified there and you are expanding there and growing there as well. Jupiter will be applying square to Venus. I hope I said square last time. Sorry. Square to Venus in Leo in your second house of earnings and possessions. This can only be really good for your money, your larger possessions, better car, better everything, better furniture, better possessions. And well, I can't really think of a negative part of this. I will say that Mars will be in here as well in June, into June 10th, June through to about July 10th, if I remember correctly. And Mars in this part of your sky is kind of like, I should check that date. Oh my God. Now that I'm actually putting this onto a video, I'm sorry, because I did all these YouTube videos for all signs the year ahead. And my memory, I finished them a week and a half ago. My memory is fading on these positions and timings. Okay, let me just double check the Mars story, just so I don't screw up the whole rest of this video. Yes. Mars will be in Leo. All right, that's the good news from May. Oh, May the 20th? No. Yeah. I'll say May the 20th to July the 10th. May the 20th to July the 10th. Okay. So therefore, well, Let me make sure I said that right. Yeah. Therefore, the point is that Mars in your second house can be about eliminating something. So you could be selling a possession, or you could be eliminating what kinds of foods you eat. But the point is, Venus is keeping everything very protective when she arrives on June the 4th. And so from June 4th to July 10th, everything gets really sweet here. And you could sell a possession and make a lot of money. You could change your food style and feel really healthy and happy. Those sorts of things are going on. All right. It can be in Vedic astrology, the house of the second marriage, and therefore in one of the two Vedic astrology tools. And so you can find your second marriage thriving as Venus spends June, July, August, September in the house of a second marriage. Mars means you might be passionate because the cosmic lovers will be passionately opening up a second marriage house for some frisky action next year. That's about that. And the dates for the Venus-Jupiter connection, Jupiter in his joy in a luck house connecting to your money house, basically, it's definitely prosperous for you Cancers. And Venus is a ruler of your house of real estate, and it's possible homeland and real estate that maybe you're buying a new house, moving into a new house, selling a house, expanding into a house. Maybe there's a connection to eldest sibling for some Cancer risings in this expansion of home energy. Keep that in mind. Or prosperity connected to home, maybe connected to a sibling or someone in your friendship groups. So the three dates are June the 10th, August 21st, and September 16th. The first is direct motion, 5 degrees Venus, position Jupiter. So therefore, yeah, your ascendant close to 5 degrees gets most juice, sun and moon as well. August 21st, Venus around 15 retrograde. So if you have any planets at 15, Cancer, sun, moon, or rising, of course, this is going to affect you more because you're getting more direct Jupiter juice from the 11th. And then lastly, Jupiter retrograde, but Venus direct on September 16th. Always bracket this by a few days. I always say that. She's conjunct Juno, the goddess of contracts, agreements, and commitments in the second house of earnings, possessions, and money and resources. It is the Lord of your real estate house. So some of you might be signing contracts around real estate and possessions like that, or just finalizing agreements to do with something that you want to possess or depossess that require a commitment of some kind. All right. And lastly, you're killing it in terms of action choices and directionality. Mars being blessed by Jupiter, getting everything to go swell and totally your way around July 30th. And that is going to be, well, Mars is moving through in Virgo in an Earth trine to Jupiter and Taurus. Quite special time regarding journeys and trips and travel, gallivanting, connections with siblings, and learning things. All super swell. Trying to get my Cancer rising sister to come visit me next July and do a cross-country road trip. And that will tie into that July 31st Jupiter trine Mars in the third house of trips and travel, domestic and local, and not too far away. I'm going to pause the recording. I'm going to see if I can get a lighting place. And if not, I'll just stay where I am. I just turned some kitchen lights on, so we'll deal. I look rosy, but I just don't want to be in the dark. Don't want to be in the dark anymore. Leo, sun, moon, and rising. By the way, are you in the live premiere? Are we together? Is it the crew, Stephen the Jupiterian, and one wise lady, and one rare bird, and LA Taylor misbehaving, or Murky with the message? These are the regulars, and the regulars are funny because Stephen the Jupiterian won a free reading with me in a draw, and then the other day LA Taylor did. I promise you guys, I stuck all the names of everyone in the live chat into a hat, and there was like at least 100 names, and then I drew. I can't believe I got them all in little pieces of paper, and these regulars are winning contests by coming to my live premieres, and every now and then I throw a flash contest. And so if you do show up at these things, you can win a free reading with me, so why not try? And hit my like button and subscribe. All right, and check my description box and all of the good news that I have down below. All right, so Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign people, let's roll. Holy lusciousness, right? I'm almost diverted. I know it's about Jupiter and Taurus, May of 23 to 24, which is fine. It's your career house, and you're just going to blow out, expand, get famous, get powerful, be favored by people in power. You're going to kill it in your career. Like, you are going for it. But just as amazing is to have Venus in the house of you for 4 unusual months. How odd is that, to get double blessed in career and self? And so you are beautiful, and you're June, July, August, September, and into early October. You are beautiful. You are persuasive, charismatic. You have a charm offensive. You feel good about you. You love yourself. You do feel like you need a good wardrobe and a fancy haircut should you desire to shine your Leo hair in the world with new aplomb. A lot of Leos present with beautiful hair, or they pay attention to their mane. And so the rising sign Leo especially will be more preoccupied with their appearance, but sun and moon people can find that, Venus is blessing their purpose and career, and then their home life as well. If it's a Leo moon for you, it's a blessed home, a beautiful home, a friendly home, a loving home. Now, all of that said, because just the moon is about the home energy, the Cancer fourth house. So one of the, and how you feel about life, and you feel good when Venus is around. So yay. So let's talk about Jupiter in the 10th house. He's going to bless your career May of 23 to 24, and your purpose and your, I don't have a career. I'm a student. I don't have a career. I raise my children. That's your career. That's the visible actions you're taking in the world. That's what's getting blessed. So those things are getting expanded, lucky, fortunate, and full of goodness. Now, Jupiter connects with that north node, as I said earlier, and you feel that between May 20th and June 13th, with an epicenter of intensity closer to June the 1st, and during that time, therefore, you will find you are dramatically expanding in your visible purpose and career in the world. This is the house of the father in one tradition. So things connected to father are expanding, and suddenly, and big energies up there, bigly energy, man, bigly. Certainly sometimes Jupiter can be the boss or the one in power above you in a career setting. This person is going to somehow favor you, or people in power can favor you within your career. It's a part of your north node amplification. It's a part of your destiny. Now, the 3 times that Jupiter trines Venus are critical for you of all signs. You get such angularity, meaning the strongest houses are houses 1, 4, 7, and 10 in terms of life changes, right? So this square from Jupiter in the 10th house of your professional endeavors to Venus in the house of you happens on June the 10th, August 21st, and September 16th. The first time is around the 5-degree mark of both Taurus and Leo. Therefore, certainly if your midheaven's near 5 degrees of Taurus, because in whole sign houses, the midheaven floats. Could be in the 8th house, 9th house, 10th house, 11th house. But if you have a floating midheaven near 5 Taurus, this is really auspicious. Also to say, yeah, just leave it at that. It's only too complicated. And as well, the Jupiter Uranus, the Jupiter North Node happens at 3. So if your midheaven is in Taurus in the first 6 degrees, you're getting super blessings in your career next year, okay? Or your visible purpose in the world. And then what I'd say is that, the whole thing with the Venus, the first round, it's a 5-degree mark. So Leo, sun, moon, and rising close to 5 degrees. You're really super powered up here. You are massively benefiting in your health, in your wellness, in your beauty, in your sense of self. It's good for cosmetic surgery between May the 20th and July the 10th, because Mars joins Venus in the house of you, but more particularly when she gets there. So around about June the 5th to July the 10th. So any cosmetic procedures you need that include sharp objects or braiding or lasering could be very Mars and Venus like. But so you may be upgrading your appearance then as well as a Leo rising, especially less so for sun and moon. Now, the second wave is Venus. She's now retrograding at around 15 degrees of your first house, connecting to Jupiter at 15 degrees of Taurus. Sometimes this can be making the ask, going back to ask again, going back to correct some things in the beauty, love, and personhood, going back to talk to your boss again or change something in the workplace, going back. Sometimes it's just a change of mind. Whatever goes backward changes its mind. And this is Venus changing her mind. Maybe you're not going to do that surgery or not going to do that wardrobe change. But anyway, people from the past may come back, but it's really about you. So you're making some retrogradation on some Venusian endeavor around beauty, love, personhood, what you wish to accomplish through persuasion and charm. But Jupiter still says, okay, and I bless it all from the career space. And lastly, you go into and sometimes Jupiter in the 10th house, if your midheaven is there, can be a wedding. So you may be getting a wedding set up during any of this transit, getting ready to wed, all of that. And then lastly, Jupiter will retrograde, and Venus is now direct at the 15th degree mark again on September 16th. Well, she is September 16th. Well, she is conjunct Juno, the goddess of vows, contracts, and commitments. Well, certainly you could be taking some vows. So some of you Leos may be vow bound in September of 2016 while you take your marital vows of commitment with Jupiter in the 10th and Venus with Juno in the 1st. You may be doing exactly that in September of 2023. Last bit of goodness is that Jupiter will trine Mars, making your actions, choices, and decisions and what you're driving toward in Virgo, your second house of money and earnings, quite successful because Jupiter from the 10th house boosts your earnings, big earnings boost for you. Yay! What's to complain about? Honestly, Jupiter is still direct at that point. It's a big money earnings boost. It definitely looks like a promotion, a raise, or something good around July the 30th, give or take about a week on either side. Thank you, Leo, and you say promotion, raise. Well, if you're self-employed, of course, you're just getting better outcomes. I mean, Jupiter rules your 5th house of independent enterprise. A lot of Leos do become their own owners of their own business, their own entrepreneurs, and that's all it could be. Suddenly, all the money is flowing. The money is flowing. You're doing super, super well. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Now, okay, my daughter's a Virgo rising. My best friend's a Virgo rising sun. My son, SON, is a Virgo. My mother was a Virgo. You ever notice you collect types around you? These are all people who in my natal sky, as an Aquarius rising, my natal Virgo area of the chart is my 8th house. I keep attracting 8th house friends, but I have a finger of God with a pointy tip with Pluto in my 8th house. So you never know. Oh, you're listening in the premiere. Don't forget to hit the like button. Help my algorithm, make me go a little bit further, a little bit farther, a little bit faster in my profession as an astrologer. I do appreciate all of you. It does help me want to make videos if my videos keep reaching more people. All right. So Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. First of all, there's so much I could say about you guys because I know so many of you. Jupiter, a beneficent planet, is moving through the sign of Taurus from mid-May of 23 to May of 24. This is your academic house. This is you're going to college and university. My daughter's got an A in one of her exams. I'm certain this is going to be very good for her next year. She has one more term left to finish strong. May, for example, inspire her to go do a graduate work after this. And so things like that is expansion, growth, luck, and opportunity in academia, in courts and legal matters, in foreign lands and foreign shores and visas and travel, in religious and spiritual faith and optimism. All right. A sense of deep meaning and purpose to your life. All of this is beginning to widen and expand and be blessed by Jupiter. And as this is occurring, as this expansion is occurring, this is also a time where he will, in a rare, not since 1929, meet up with the North Node of Fate around 3 degrees of Taurus. And that's going to happen around May the 20th to June the 13th, epicenter June 1st. Now, quite probably, this is an exciting time because all this is a trine to your identity. Like it's an earth trine from Taurus earth to your Virgo earth. Your earth to my earth, your mind to my mind, very Vulcan mind meld. And you're just like, wow. Like you're just like receiving these Jupiter blessings from the 9th house coming at you. Like, I don't know. I can't interpret this in any negative way. In Indian astrology, this can be the house of the father and the house of the 3rd marriage in the technique I use. So your 3rd marriage is being blessed up, Virgo rising sun and moon. And when we say marriage, I mean, 3rd long-term committed partnership that's like a marriage in our modern world, including marriage. And so that's getting a huge amount of blessings. And then the North Node brings in double your money, double your luck, double your amplification, kind of epicentering around June 1st. Like if you think of my daughter, say she takes classes and she gets her exam results back in June, right? Or end of May, beginning of June, she might be jumping for joy at the success she's having. So that's kind of a good example for you. Or my girlfriend who's a Virgo rising and sun wants to maybe move to another land for 2 years and try it out. That could be getting all the paperwork and some blessings and a super lucky opportunity to get that move underway. There's so many, exciting, prosperous and good ways this can play out. And if you have that court case you need to win in, the judge loves you up. Not only rules in your favor, but doubles down and gives you way more money than you thought you were going to get in that lawsuit. So you see what I mean? Excellent, most excellent time. And if you want to go to church, discover religion, meet God, or wake up to the truth of true nature, yeah, that's all possible. So there's that. And that North Node meeting is going to happen around 3 degrees. So yeah, of course, maybe like the first 6, 7, 8 degree Virgo, sun, moon, and rising get more of a direct hit, but all of you get it. It's a whole sign house based connection to what's happening in your ninth. Then on June the 10th, August 21st, and September 16th, Venus does her very rare 4-month stay in Leo, and she will be in a relationship to Jupiter. It's called a square, and it looks like you're either receiving money and blessings, especially in June, July, that could come from legacy wealth or investments, or anytime around there. But also, especially if you get that legacy wealth or money from investments pouring in, as a Virgo rising, it's more likely to be between my brain. Can't believe I can remember this stuff around June the 4th and July the 10th. But that aside, the 3 points that we're talking about is Venus being able to receive blessings from Jupiter while she's in your 12th. Foreign lands, foreign shores, travel, money through foreign shores and exchanges, barter and trade, investment monies and legacy wealth can be activated. Maybe to some degree, real estate and property successes, because Jupiter rules your home and property, and he's blessing Venus in the 12th. It could look like that as well. It's just very luscious nonetheless. So, and as this is happening on the first pass, June the 10th, it's just really good for the early degree, 5 degrees, 6 degrees, 7 degree, 8 degree, first 8 degrees of Virgo, feeling a lot of love from Jupiter at that time. And then later on, the second pass is retrograde Venus on August 21st. And she goes into a trine, receiving a trine from Jupiter at 15 degrees, and she's at 15 degrees. Therefore, Virgo 15 degree sun, moon, or rising people, give or take a few degrees on either side, are directly experiencing Jupiter beaming a whole lot of love your way. There's nothing I can say, but goodness is happening here. Better for your health, better for your faith, hope, and optimism, better for your connection to Father. Jupiter here, though, house of the Father. And given some of the 12th house stuff could be legacy wealth coming through an inheritance from a father or father figure, a patriarchal figure in your life. And then on September 16th, and Jupiter rules your house of marriage. And so if you're in a divorce settlement or alimony settlement, there could be money coming through from there as well. And then on September 16th, Jupiter retrograde. He's going to go backwards, but nonetheless, as he's doing that, Venus is moving direct, and they end up crossing paths at a 15 degree, again, trine, square, and Venus is conjunct Juno. Now, Venus, I'm making soup on the stove. I'm going to have to get up and check it. Venus conjunct Juno is where you're going to make a vow or a contract or an agreement of some sort. And it's going to be about love or money. And that's happening in your 12th house, which can be foreign lands, foreign shores, learning opportunities, money from overseas, or sometimes money that comes through inheritances or legacy wealth or property. Okay, keep all of that in mind, because that's on September 16th. And it's with that Juno piece and Jupiter, legal courts, agreements around things to do with legacy wealth, property, real estate, etc. You could take a vow at a spiritual level to a spiritual teacher, a vow of celibacy, a vow to be a part of an order, a religious order. You could take a vow of that kind as well, if that's something you're into. Well, not that you're into, life has given it to you around September 16th. The last thing I want to talk about, yay, actions, choices, decisions, and directionality powered up by Jupiter as Mars moves through the house of your body. This is good for your health. This is good for you taking solid action and decisions. This is going to be around July 30th, give or take a few days on either side, maybe a week on either side. And Jupiter is, from the ninth house, loving up your body. This is where, if you've had any health challenges or you need to get healthy, things are going to go very well for you this summer. And you could have a massive, successful turning point in your health. But also you could find that you are able to take incredibly strong actions you need and make major decisions in order to be better equipped to be healthy. And Jupiter here can also mean, Mars in the first house could mean choosing a surgery that you may need that will benefit your health. Okay. Just for some of you, not for all of you, but that's a window around July 30th. Thanks for listening, Virgo. We're moving on now to Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Hi, Libra. I'm so happy to talk to you about what's going on in 2023 with Jupiter's ingress into Taurus, which is an important sign for you because it's one of the signs that's owned by Venus, who is your ruler. And then Venus is doing something really luscious too. So you've got a lot of complementarity going on here as Venus does what she's going to do for you. Well, Jupiter does good things in her other sign because, you know, she has two places that belong to her, Libra and Taurus. So first of all, you know, it's kind of like, you know, May 16th to May of 24, Jupiter starts to say to you, it's every 12 years he can do this and he's back to do it again. So you can go back to like 2012 and see what was happening, kind of thing. 12, 13, whatever it would have been. Anyway, it doesn't matter because basically that's in my longer video. I'm losing steam here. I gotta perk up. Let me take a sip of my blue tea. Ooh. It's called 4 o'clock de-stress, and it's got this blue pea flower, butterfly flower. And it makes your tea a gorgeous color. Take a look. Oh, you can't tell. It looks black, doesn't it? It's actually blue. See, maybe you can, no, it's not going to show it's blue. So bottom line is that Taurus is a zone of your chart that is about your money. It's not your money that you're earning. It's not your money that you get in your paycheck. It's not that kind of money. It's chunky money. I always call it chunky money. Comes in a chunk. Tax rebates come in a chunk. A mortgage comes in a chunk. It's leveraging money. A stock investment taking off comes as a chunk of money. Money from your spouse or a business partnership can be here. Also inheritances. Quite often this is where we receive legacy money and it's connected to that. This is a legacy transit. So yeah, so there's that. Jupiter going through the 8th house is classically associated with inheritances. And so possibly May of this year, 23 to 24, you will inherit some money. But if not, you'll have the big financial upgrade for sure. Jupiter will try to bring it the best he can. And it could be around tax rebates, investments taking off and things like that. Now, when Jupiter's here, he does a once not since 1929. In this case, as I said earlier in the video, it's either a 96-year cycle or 36 or 94-year cycle. So back in 1929, he did meet, you weren't alive then, I bet. He did meet the North Node in your 8th house of that chunky money. But, you know, you weren't here to receive that. Now you are. And it's quite exciting and expansive and can be a very dramatic financial increase for you, a very exciting, dramatic and super duper amplified financial upgrade coming your way next year, particularly between May the 20th and June the 14th, 13th, 14th, with an epicenter of feeling it the most strongly, maybe around June the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th of the month, when it's really more precise. It's happening around 3 degrees. And this is the degree that if you are looking at planets in your 8th house around 3 degrees, if you have any planets in your 8th house, you want to account for what they are. Like Venus, if Venus was there, or, you know, that would be even better for you, or even Mercury. So if you're born with any of those placements, this is going to really amplify the planetary power of that natal planet anywhere near 3 degrees, let's say 0 to 6 degrees of the sign of Taurus in your 8th house. You are off to the races, even with more support than we know. This is where your own particular natal sky matters. So it's financial increase, basically, and prosperity, and yay you. The second part of the story, and once in a lifetime level of prosperity that's quite destined. All right. It could, like, you could rest on your laurels, retire, cash out, because the South Node in the 2nd house wants you to work less and not hustle for money. Now this big boon comes next year. It definitely can look like an inheritance, though. I do know a Libra sun who's in line for a big inheritance, for example, and all of that. So there's those things. Could be the time when that inheritance becomes true. Secondly, Venus, she's going to be moving, your Lord, your planet. You and Taurus share her. You got dibs on her. She's moving through your house of good spirit. This is a house of luck, prosperity. It's kind of in windfall pennies from heaven, karmic rewards, karmic dividends, ways, great gains from your career in reputation and money. It's where people in power can support you and friends can act as allies. It's where you can have a lot of influence in the world. And it's perhaps even the place where you concoct your wishes, dreams, and 5-year life plan. You know, like, what's the game plan in this thing called life? What am I up to? And I would say that what you're up to is prosperity right now. I mean, you've got Jupiter in a money house and Venus in a money house. Women in power may favor you. Women as allies or an eldest sibling can favor you as well during this transit. And it's basically a longer story. It's like Venus, June the 5th to October 8th, bringing it on in your 11th house. But at the same time, It's really precise times where Jupiter interacts with her on June the 10th, August 21st, and September 16th. And these may be three parts of one story. So Venus in the first iteration at 5 degrees of the sign of Leo, okay, will be moving forward, while Jupiter also moving forward around the same 5 degrees, make contact. Jupiter applying to Venus is very auspicious, and it could look like a sudden financial breakthrough, windfall, pennies from heaven, favor from a female friend, favor some people in power, big energy. Then August 21st, Venus will be at 15 degrees as well as Jupiter. She will retrograde, however, so possibly this is connected to going back over what's already happening and fine tuning whatever is going on, or women from your past coming into your life again, or detachment from an eldest sibling reconnecting as examples. August 21st is when that is occurring. If you have planets anywhere near 15 degrees of Libra, sun, moon, or rising, you feel it the strongest. And lastly, September 16th, well, Venus is conjunct the goddess of contracts, vows, and agreements, Juno. It's one of her meanings. And it could look like an agreement, a contract, a vow with somebody. If you are a single Libra, you could fall in love with somebody in a social group setting who starts off as a friend or is introduced by a friend. Okay. That's anytime, let's say between June the 10th and June the 5th and July the 10th. I won't go into why. It's a Mars Venus story. And yeah, that's about that. And then later on, I'd say really look, well, that's not that far later. I was going back in time a little bit, but it's around July 30th. So a week before, a week after, Jupiter will be trining Mars, and Mars is your action taker and your god of, moving and adventuring and making decisions. And he's in the 12th house. Now, the 12th house can activate legacy wealth because it's trine to the 8th and trine to the 4th. And Mercury is, mercurial, marketing, merchandising, but also things like, negotiating. So you may be looking at that story around July 30th, where some of you are negotiating the fine print on real estate, land, property, inheritances, bequeathments. Some of you are also potentially, with this placement, traveling to a foreign land or foreign shore. That's very classic Mars in the 12th house, and also eliminating all your self-undoing, defeating habits, patterns, and addictions, with support from Jupiter in the house of your unconscious and subconscious and archetypal and a psychological realm. So some of you may dispense with the last addiction or something like that. And yet, on the other hand, a lot of this may be to do with money and legacy wealth. And this is more like the negotiating, contract signing energy for sure. And not unlikely that you could travel to a foreign land. Mercury rules your 9th house, and this can be a foreign land house energy. And Jupiter just brings financial awareness, wealth, and opportunity to travel to these foreign lands. And that can happen that you're planning the trip or taking it the last week of June and the first week of July. All right. But powerful energies for you. Thank you for listening. Libra Sun, Libra Moon, and Rising. Good luck with your 2023 narrative. Watching on the live premiere and you're still here, please hit that like button. I would so appreciate you jacking up that algorithm on my behalf. I can't do it for myself. I need some help here. Thank you. All right, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It is getting dark. Hang on a sec. I'm going to try turning on one more light. There's one more light I can turn on here. I am getting grainy as F, AF grainy, but I turned the last light on in this kitchen. Don't forget, my lighting kit's packed up. I know how to do good lighting on YouTube, but unfortunately it's in storage right now. And because I was moving and unexpectedly and stuff like that, I have to get that thing out. Okay, let's keep going. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Let's talk about what's happening in your sky. With Jupiter in Taurus for the first time in 12 years, between May the 16th and May of 24, like a whole year. This is your marriage house. This expands your relationship. If you're dating, you move in. If you're moved in, you get engaged. If you're engaged, you get married. If you have a healthy existing relationship, things upgrade. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes if things are struggling, Jupiter can bring blessed endings, but he prefers to bring more of an expansion than a contraction. So yay, mostly this is for most of you is going to be positive. If you're single and you're Scorpio rising, especially, this can bring in new relationship, a brand new, very luscious and very joyful partnership. And it would work on all fronts, both romantically, sexually, and commitment wise. Now, Jupiter through this part of the sky will meet with the North Node, which he hasn't done since 1929. Hello, very rare. And when he does this North Node conjunction for you in the around 3 degrees, it means it influences Taurus Scorpio risings in the first 5 or 6 degrees of Scorpio, the most potently, with the most big surprise energy, or not surprise, but big expansion in the marriage part of the sky. And so keep that in mind, because this is kind of between May the 20th and June the 13th. It's kind of overarching, but it's kind of like June 30th, May 30th, June 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. You're really feeling it, really feeling it. So, you know, your beloved might propose to you. You might propose to them. You guys might move in together. You might get engaged, all of the good things that happen. And a lot of you will get married. If you're with a long-term person and you've been like on the fence or something, those engagements and wedding vows look very awesome for you. And I'll get to that Venus story in a bit. The last thing I want to say about the North Node expanding your 7th house is if you do client, audience, and other, you know, that's the thing. Like you reach out with a marketplace, like 10th from your 10th is why, then you're going to expand. Like my son's a Scorpio rising. He works in sales right now. Well, holy man, is he going to kill it in reaching out to audience, client, territory. He may become a regional manager or something like that. He may also get married to the woman he's lived with for the last 5-6 years, and or been with for 8 years or something like that. I mean, they are engaged, but they might finally do the wedding thing, right? And so I'm giving you real life examples here. Another friend of mine is a Scorpio sun and lives in Europe, and this could be for her a very good outreach of one of her books that she's writing, or the beginning of a greater reach to her clients, or even a connection to a new relationship. Now, the other thing I'd say is that don't worry when I said Jupiter will kibosh stuff, blessed endings, really. But it's more like, if you're, just to be really clear, he would end things as he crosses the descendant. And so because, you could be a Scorpio rising from 0 to 29 degrees, it's if you're 29 degrees, the kiboshing could happen way down the pipeline, closer to April, May of 24. Early degrees, it can happen anytime, May or June. See what I mean? So you got to track your own descendant degree to find out when Jupiter crosses it. Legal agreements, contracts, negotiations work well and in your favor. And Jupiter is a very protective energy around legal contracts, negotiations, etc., contractual arrangements, agreements, and vows, all the way from weddings to other legal shenanigans. Let's keep going and talk about that Venus story, which could lead to a wedding for some of you, or an announcement of an engagement. Venus, who loves to celebrate things and is goddess of love, will be moving through your 10th house of career, June the 4th or so to October the 8th. Very, very rare. So number one, she's bonifying, lushing up, and making your career space enjoyable, fun, pleasurable. People in power like you. You're persuasive. You can get perks, promotions, and raises with Venus up here. It's really a good time for you next summer in whatever you think your career is. Stay-at-home mom, student, that's your career. Work, have your own business, that's your career. Employed by someone, that's your career. Okay. Visible action in the world, praxis. Okay. It's what the 10th house is where everyone sees what the heck you're doing. And so, yeah, I mean, we all have something we have to be doing in the world. We're not sitting around in bed reading books or watching Netflix, I hope. And as this is happening, this 10th house activation, there's going to be 3 times that Jupiter supports Venus in the 10th house. Now, Venus in the 10th, Jupiter in the 10th and Venus in the 10th can be about weddings. Jupiter is just the legal machinations of a wedding, whereas Venus is the celebration and joy of the wedding. And if you're midheaven floating in whole sign houses is in your 10th house, as is my son's, then this is even more powerful, indicating more likely to be a very public status change of goodness, right? I'm single, I'm married, or something like that. I'm celebrating a wedding. But who knows? We'll see. And this energy is a 3-part story. So stay tuned for that again. June 10th, August 21st, and September 16th. Now, in September 16th, to jump ahead on the wedding narrative, Venus is conjunct Juno, the marriage goddess, and the vows and the oaths of marriage and commitment goddess. And so it's also contract. So signing a new contract, a new job contract or something, or taking wedding vows, very possible around September 16th. But in the middle stories, June the 10th, Venus at 5 degrees, Jupiter at 5 degrees in the houses of, right, your career and reputation, and your marriage and others and clients. That's a really luscious time that could look around June the 10th. Like a public announcement that you're going to get married, or setting the wedding date, or having some gorgeous new developments in your outreach to your audience, client, marketplace, and career. Then August 21st, there's a potential there with a 15-degree access, 15 degrees of the sign of Taurus. I mean, the sign of Taurus and Leo. that quite possibly what might be going on here is that you are going back to see an old friend, or an old job opportunity comes back to you, or some female from your past career path or reputation path returns into the scene, with Jupiter bringing an opportunity to expand your outreach, or all of that in your 7th house. And lastly, we talked about September 16th. Looks very weddings, wedding vows, announcements of a wedding date, that kind of thing. But there may be some fall weddings for some of you, Scorpio rising, sun and moon. If it's just about career stuff, then you're signing deals and contracts around that time in September. And let's take another look at that. In my scope of the sky, Jupiter rules your house of children and romance. And I mean, possibly you could be announcing to the world that you're pregnant, or your partner's pregnant, as well as you're getting married. And I mean, Jupiter owns your finance and money house as well. And all of this is auspicious for greater earnings and greater paychecks in 2023, with that pair off between Jupiter and Venus. And lastly, actions, choices, decisions, and momentum, and things that you're passionate about. You're going to be passionate with Mars and Virgo, because he's very grounded here, by plowing and tilling those fields or something, or being more aggressive in your health. So when Mars is in Virgo, at some point here around the 30th of July, Jupiter will form a Earth trine to him. Now, Virgo is your 11th house of friends and allies and good spirit and pennies from windfalls from heaven. But it looks to me like it's because it's Jupiter from the 7th, contracts, legal negotiations, business and marriage partners, and 11th house things. Mars may be saying, by taking action to expand your gains from your career, by taking decisions and making directional shifts in your long-term goals and plans with your partner, you are receiving very strong blessings. Your eldest sibling, if you have one, is where Mars is traveling. Could be some news or information or developments or momentum that's blessed and good with an eldest sibling. Alrighty. Thanks, Scorpio, for listening. I'm going to keep going before I am completely in the dark. I can't lighten this up anymore. There's no more lights, short of me grabbing a table lamp and moving it over here, but which I will do if it turns pitch black for the next few signs. Don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And if you're in the premiere course, please hit that, smash that like button, as they say on YouTube. That's the lingo here, because it helps the channel grow, and it really does make a difference. It's not just a pithy one-liner that every YouTuber shouts out at you. All right. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. So in the Sag life story, Jupiter is your ruler. So same as Pisces people. So we want to know what Jupiter's doing, because he's your planetary chart ruler and helmsman, and he's in the 6th house of your work and health. So for Sages, there's going to be some really good amplification May of 23 to 24 regarding work opportunities, job opportunities, colleague and coworker space, tenancies and pets, legal tenancies, renting or renting a place, or being the landlord, pets as well as debt and debt relief. If you have financial debt and karmic debt, Jupiter can help you maybe eliminate them or bless it, but watch out that he doesn't amplify your debt here too. You take on more than you can handle financially by up leveling your loans or something like that. But nonetheless, for the most part, with the North Node, which has not been in your 6th house since 1929, this is going to mean that you are having a very rare blessing of expansion, opportunity, and luck in your house of debt, in your house of pets, in your house of tenancies, in your house of your work, but also most importantly, your health. When you have health problems, Jupiter transiting your 6th house every 12 years can help you find solutions, and the North Node can amplify that power. So very powerful health turnarounds by any Sag rising, especially who's beleaguered here. And if your Sag rising is in the first 5 degrees or 6 degrees, you might feel it more, but maybe not. It doesn't matter as much, because this is not really a house that directly impacts your body as much as all that, not from the 6th house. But more like a carte blanche, kind of like, let's fix the sickness and let's not be sick, is what Jupiter is saying here. Venus will be moving through Leo for 4 months, June, July, August, September, October till October 8th. This is amplifying 9th house features. Some of you will be traveling during those months to foreign lands, but you're having pleasure and enjoyment, especially so when Mars joins the fray. And you definitely will probably travel to a foreign land or make great academic strides or win in a court case. All 3 things are possible between around June the 4th or 5th and July the 10th, when both Venus and Venus and Mars are together in your ninth house. And I really like the feeling here of you on adventures, right? A Mars in Leo in the ninth is big, like travel adventures of some kind. And Venus is making them beautiful, fun, and enjoyable. And it could be amazing. Now, some of you may move. Mars rules moving. You may move to another country. And Venus exalts your house of homeland and real estate while she's in the ninth house, meaning you find an exalted home in a foreign land. It may not be a full-on move. Maybe you buy a second home or find a second home. But with Venus's exaltation of your fourth house of home and land and private life, and then this movement through the ninth and all of this really exceptional love from Jupiter in the sixth, there's a possibility of being able to rent the perfect home or sell or buy, or something to do with foreign lands, home, and real estate for some of you Sag risings in the summertime this in 2023. It's a 3-part Venus story. June 10th, August 21st, September 16th. So on June 10th, Venus at 5 degrees of your ninth house of courts, foreign lands, academia, book publishing, goes into that receptive trine for a square from Jupiter in your sixth house of debts and health and job. It could be very good work, travel, storyline going on at that time, especially maybe if you have a rising sign in the first 10 degrees of Sag, or your sun and moon is in the first 10 degrees of Sagittarius. August 21st, it's a retrograde Venus. It's almost going back over old ground. You're going back to a place you've traveled to, foreign shores. You're going back over old academic subject. You're going back over old legal machinations or something like that for court involvement. This is August 21st as she's retrograding around 15 degrees, and she's receiving help from Jupiter in your sixth house. So you could be able to pay off a debt, receive a court situation where you go back to dig in a little deeper. A woman from your past may emerge who's from a foreign shore culture, and you may be dating. Okay, I should have said that. If you are single as a Sag, Jupiter in your sixth house can lead to dating, right? It's a preamble to the house of commitment when Jupiter enters the seventh in summer of 24 to 25. So you may date a woman from a foreign land, or redate a woman you knew from a foreign land, or all these are very possible things going on. And lastly, September 16th, Venus at 15 degrees, now going direct, conjunct Juno, the goddess of commitment in your ninth house, signing a lease, buying a house, signing a contract, foreign lands, foreign shores, academic, final deals on the court situation, a book publishing contract. Those are possibilities. I don't want to say arranged marriages, but sometimes this looks like, doing legal things around marriage that you need to do for like visas and passports for the one you're with, just, to secure the legal ease needed for some of you Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. There's definitely a feeling here that some of you Sagittarius are going to travel and meet a love story. Okay. A very destined karmic love story. And this could be the beginning of a new love story in your life anytime between June 5th and October 8th. But mostly, I think when Mars gets there, May 20th to July 10th, that's where it's really rich for love on foreign shores, with someone from a foreign shore, traveling to a foreign shore, finding love there, or winning in court cases. And lastly, a lot of action taking is blessed by Jupiter, decision making, momentum, and passion and direction, because Jupiter from Taurus will Earth trine Mars as he moves through your 10th house of public reputation and career, and status in the world. So there could be a momentum in your career, Sagittarius, of some sort. But Mars also exits careers when he goes through the 10th house, especially in your midheaven. You may finally retire. Jupiter will bless you with the money you need, resources you need to retire, to step away, to leave and forego or end or cut, snip a career path of some sort. Yeah, that looks right. Now, not to worry you, because most of you look like you're having good shit happen in your career love story, but Mercury rules the house of marriage commitment. Mars is going through the house of reputation. Jupiter is the house of karmic debt. Some of you may announce to the world sometime with great vim and vigor that you're no longer going to be married to X, Y, and Z person, or you may become evident that you have separated or are divorcing or separating from someone. And if that's true, that's likely to happen around July 31st. That's why I should have said that in the beginning, give or take a week on either side. Okay. And there you go. That's about that. Keep on keeping on, Lori. You can get to the tail end of this thing if you keep on keeping on. Like I don't stop, record, go to bed, take a nap, and come back and splice. You guys, I do this in one long setting. Oh, there's another light I can turn on. I'm now seeing other lights that switches are off. I could try the light behind the sink and see if that makes any difference. That's kind of like, what do you call that? You know, the backsplash light in this kitchen. I'm not at my house. I'm staying at a friend's place because I'm moving into my new place, my own new place in mid-January for a furnished rental for several months. Please consider, that's a little bit better. Please consider hitting the like button. If you're listening in the live premiere, smash that button. That's for that phrase. It helps the channel grow. And if you do smash my like button, I appreciate it. And also don't forget to hit the bell for notifications and subscribe if you wouldn't mind. Well, since I've been talking for so long, I did update my lipstick. I bought this lipstick. Who am I talking to now? Capricorns, Refined Taste, Lancome. And you know what? I didn't like the color after I bought it. You can't try them on, right? So I've been using it for blush, but it's very moisturizing. So I'm not putting it on to be a diva, but it's got like all these all natural like hyaluronics or something in it. And I'm talking so long, my lips are feeling dry. Okay. Wow, I can do this. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign in your natal sky. What's the story about? Well, number one, it's happening that you're having an earth trine from Jupiter. Yay. Jupiter moving through Taurus is loving you up in a inferior trine. So he has to look over his shoulder back at you, but he can do that, especially when he retrogrades in September. Holy man. I think it's like September 3rd to the end of the year, he'll be retrograding and he's going to be moving towards your identity. So it's going to be actually quite opportune and lucky and good for your health and stuff way down the line for you. But just in general, Jupiter, May of 23 to 24 in your fifth house can really love up your health, your body, your identity. It can give you blessings in legal affairs, court cases, foreign lands, foreign travel, visas, things to do with book publishing, academia. They say courts and court wins. Okay. It's doing this movement through your fifth house. This blesses your children. This is excellent for having a baby, being fertile, and pregnancy for a woman and a man, like the partner you're with, because you're fertile, so she's fertile. And all said and done, sometimes it leads to pregnancy. So it's a very common pregnancy transit or becoming a father or a mother. You have luck here. It's a money luck house, playing the lottery, going to the casino, betting on the horses, all the gambling stuff. And you have Jupiter, a luck god. So it's not a bad time to try your luck at gambling, not to break the bank, and don't take financial advice from an astrologer. But when the North Node meets here, not since 1929, with Lord Jupiter in your fifth house of children, independent business enterprise, speculative money lucky, wins, creativity, joy, fun, play, pleasure, and sexuality. Things blow up on steroids, get really, really big, really exceptionally large, and super lusciously lucky around the 20th of May to the June 13th, long extended stay, but it's most kind of like the first week of June, like June 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, really intense energy. Now, we don't know what's going on yet. I do know that Venus will have moved into your 8th house starting June 5th. And that means that there's a lot of Venus energy participating from the chunky money house. So you're going to get some chunky money. And the chunky money can be like, you know, a windfall through a speculation, a stock that you really took a risk on, through an inheritance, through some kind of tax rebate, through an investment that pays off, through a business partnership, all of that. So big money coming your way. For a Capricorn rising, especially sun and moon is secondarily. I like to just say, you know, you say sun and moon because you can get some juice out of it, but honestly, listen for your rising sign. Don't know how, cast a chart below, check my description box to find your rising. You need a birth time though. I feel that this energy, the dog is wandering around, hope does not have to take a WALK. I'm house sitting, dog sitting until I get my place. If you have adult children and Jupiter moves through the fifth house, sometimes it brings children. And because Mars will move through your house of grandchildren around July 31st, meeting up with blessings from Jupiter in the house of children, there are a good chunk of Capricorn rising people who will have the announcement of a pregnancy with a child of yours, or, you know, your son has a woman who gets pregnant or whatever. You're going to become a grandpa or grandma, right? So Capricorns, get ready for that. That's not for every one of you, but this is one of the most really well-timed, auspicious versions of you're going to be a grandparent. Especially more towards the summertime, right? When we need Mars and Virgo for that to happen. So July 10th through to the end of August, you might get the announcement or hear about this. I do think with the Jupiter transit through your 5th house, you are lucky. So you are lucky in things to do with money and love, lucky in money, lucky in your creativity, lucky with the muse. So good time for all of those things to be prioritized, to go for it and enhance the luck by taking conscious choices. Now, 3 times Venus will come into a relationship with the planet Jupiter, receiving him as he applies toward her from your 5th house. And basically the first time that happens is on June the 10th, and then August 21st, and then September the 16th. Well, the June the 10th storyline is a Venus moving forward through your 8th house of chunky money. This can definitely look like bequeathments, but also taking off a stock market investments or something like that. And so on June the 10th, you will feel like there's some prosperity story unfolding in your 8th house. And it's forward momentum, and Jupiter supporting it from the 5th house. So it could be legacy wealth stories as well. And then August the 21st, well, yeah, it could be. There's an odd way it could work. Could possibly mean that money's coming through a marriage partner, not just you. Like it's your partner who's got the money. There could be going on. And then August 21st, she's retrograding, and this retrogradation opens up the potential of some kind of past money coming back to you that was owed you and you didn't even know it, maybe, or from the past, money from the past returning, buried treasure kind of vibe. August 21st. And that continues to end up at September 16th. Venus in 15 degrees of your 8th house direct, Jupiter 15 degrees of your 5th house direct. And the two of them are retrograde Jupiter. They're kind of like doing a last pass, and Venus is conjunct Juno in the marriage house. So you may commit to marry someone you're dating because Jupiter expands your dating life. I should have said that, your romantic life in your 5th house. You may have an agreement with a child that's very important. One of your children may be getting married or announcing they're getting married. Romance goddess Venus is receiving Jupiter, some opportunity and luck, Juno commitment. But again, it's mostly a money story in my view. A lot of this has to do with your finances improving with the Venus-Jupiter storyline. Oh, stop it. Oh, the dog. And if there's a hidden romance in your life, like a secret relationship, it's going to come out in the open. And it's going to come out in the open. Stop it. I'll have to put him in front of the camera if he keeps this up. Going to come out in the open for you when Mars enters your 8th house. And that's going to be anytime roughly around May the 20th to July 10th. You could even go more passionate with a secret romance, but Mars likes to spill secrets too. So secret romance, hidden romance, illicit romance, and then passion, in the summertime, etc. And lastly, Mars likes to take action and make decisions and go boldly forward. And he's going to be in Virgo, and he can also bring endings. And this is a place of courts for you, legal affairs. And Mars going through there, you could win a legal court case. Okay. Anytime that he's there, yay, you. So kind of like July 10th to the end of August, you could end up going to battle legally and winning, or traveling and gallivanting and moving and adventuring in a foreign land. But I like about it is that you got support, especially acutely around the 30th of July, flank it by a week before and after from Jupiter. So blessed outcomes in legal matters, blessed outcomes regarding grandchildren that you have or are coming your way, blessed outcomes regarding foreign lands, travel and visas, blessed outcomes regarding book publishing and higher education. All righty. I almost picked him up and put him on the screen so you could see the little dog with the big mouth. He's got a big bark for a little guy. He just hears a noise in the house and he thinks it's something like there's someone coming in. He's old. He's like, I think he's 14, 15. And so he's kind of like, he doesn't see well. So when he hears something, he's hypersensitive. Okay, moving onward then. Anything else I'd say for you, Caps? Jupiter rules your house of home. Sorry, not home. Mars rules your house of home, but Jupiter rules your house he exalts your house of marriage. And he's in the romance house. So some of you are going to have a really lovely committed love story emerging during this Jupiter transit. There's no doubt about it. I just want to see if I'm missing anything. Venus is the lord of your house of career, and some of this chunky money could be payouts from your career, successes from your career, retirement income from your career. Eighth house is pension plans and stuff like that. And anything else that I want you to know? And Jupiter rules your house of foreign lands. There's no doubt about it. Some of you are doing a lot of foreign land travel with Jupiter in the fifth, but some of you are also maybe moving to foreign lands or something like that. All right, let's move on and get into the next story, which is me. I'm an Aquarius, and I apologize if the lighting is cumbersomely grainy. I can't turn anything on brighter at this point that I can see. Is that true? I think, let me double check one more light. Oh, no, that's up full. But I will dig my lighting kit out, I think, for the rest of these year ahead, like big videos, and go into the storage and find it. Okay, my big diva ring. You know, are you here with me in the premiere? Are you there listening, my crew? Because I'm recording this for my Patreon first. This is December 15th. Then, yeah, remind other people to love me up and smash the like button. And if you haven't done it yet, please do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Moving into the next story. Me, Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius rising, and so here's our story. I just heard the Brady Bunch, right? It's a story of a man named Brady who was raising three very handsome boys. All of them had a hair of gold. That's the women, like their mother. Maybe it was Jan Brady. I don't know. But anyway, all the story of us Aquarius. I am getting punchy, right? Because I've been doing this for so long. Let me drink some more tea. One of my followers said, eat a tangerine, because I got in trouble for post-COVID, barely recovered 8 days later. I was really, really frail, trying to nibble a tangerine between my talking. And people go, oh, it's so gnarly, so rude, so gnarly, so rude. You know, when people troll, sometimes I'm like, you're getting free content, you know, like, let me recover from COVID. And I wasn't like, so like, I'm sorry, I'm bringing this back up again, but sometimes I just laugh. You can't be a human being these days. Hello. Says the Aquarius rising girl with 4 planets in Aries. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. In our story, this is going to be very auspicious for real estate, home, land. We are yearning for home because we've been on this silly old roller coaster nomadic transit of Uranus in Taurus, our 4th house, since 2018 May. And believe me, I've moved and moved and moved. So it does not allow us to be stable. However, there's nothing better than Jupiter in Earth sign Taurus to start to stabilize our home. I think this is going to be because we had a Uranus North Node conjunction here as well back in the summer, August, July. And what were you doing the last week of August, first week of July? Because that's going to point the direction to home, basically. I was back in Ontario, Canada, where I grew up. That's probably where I'm going to end up going. But the bottom line is Jupiter now makes it really easy, lucky, joyful, and prosperous to home yourself. And so between May of 23 and 24, a lot of us are settling into our new and maybe our forever home. No more wandering around, gonna land somewhere. And there's a lot of energy around May 20th to June 13th with an epicenter the first 4 or 5 days of June of really understanding where this home is, if not even acquiring it or moving, and having an incredible sense of luck and fortune and expansion in this concept of home as Jupiter are going to unite with the North Node here. And that's a thing that hasn't happened for 90 something years, right? Back in 1929. So you're probably not listening to this if you're born before 1929. So we are, as Aquarius risings, coming into the first time in our life that this has happened. So this is not just any home, any rehoming. This is a magnificent home, a beautiful home, an expansive home, the perfect home, the blessed home, the happy home, the prosperous home. Because Jupiter is also connected to ideas of teaching or leading, you may be starting to a real endeavor to begin teaching from home or leading from home as well. I already teach from home, but this could amplify, as for example. Now, Jupiter here can bring legacy wealth. It's like a transit like the 8th house. It brings legacy wealth. And later on with Mars in the year going through Virgo around July 10th to the end of August, and Jupiter will trine him then. So I'm going backwards for you guys. Usually I leave this last. Jupiter trining Mars in the 8th can be an inheritance thing. You may have to sort of fight for your share, but you may receive money that's due you from a spouse, the passing of someone in your legacy, family of origin, or something like that. And so just be aware of that. And that is in July 31st, July 30th, a week before and after. So there's a lot about money can come to you from the family of origin, the legacy, wealth, the inheritance money, etc. 4th house is your childhood home, family of origin, and where you grew up, your homeland as well, if you moved countries in your life. And so those are where Jupiter is blessing you in those areas as well. I couldn't wait to leave the hometown that I grew up in. I just told my sister today, I think I might want to move back to Kirkland Lake and buy a house next year. And she said, you would never survive here. It's cold winters. And I don't think that's right for you. We shall see. We shall see. Because I work on the internet. So the only thing I don't like about Northern Ontario is terrible medical services. And I have to drive like 7 hours to get to an international airport. That's a bit of a cumbersome thing if I was trying to get directly to an international airport. But anyway, enough about me, more about you. So there's that. And then the trine to Venus. So are you a single Aquarius looking for love in all the right places? Well, when Venus enters your 7th house between June the 5th and exits on October 8th, if you are single and you've got a Venus transit of 4 months through your marriage house and commitment house, I'd be shocked if you haven't started a significant relationship that's quite sexy and quite exciting, especially when Mars joins Venus in your 7th house, which is really good for that. And that happens a little bit later when they're together, and their togetherness time, like June 5th to July 10th, is quite awesome for love and passion and romance. It can also be a time in which, your career takes off because you need to, if you're like me, market or reach an audience or a marketplace with something that you produce from your 10th Scorpio's house. Well, yeah, this is excellent for a massive outreach, where you succeed and you get very popular and you get very lucky and successful in your marketplace, audience, client space. June, July, August, September. And when Mars, the Lord of your 10th house, enters with Venus, a lot of what, if you don't want a love story that's all hot and sizzling, because maybe you're married for 30 years, then this is your most excellent time to have your career ambitions outpicture as popularity, public appeal, and great success. Okay. And when was that again? Anytime around July 10th to the end of August. As well, I would say that you benefit from women, right? Women will benefit you. 7th house others can be females. And so you're going to benefit from powerful women, or just women in general, during that transit of Venus through your 7th house. Then, I already touched on the Mars trine to Jupiter trine, Earth trine to Mars in your 8th house of chunky money. This is a time of serious financial success somehow, right? I don't know what it is and where this chunky money can come from, with Mars as a delivery mechanism for it. But again, that's around July 30th, 31st, and you don't want to add a week on each side. But if I look at the rulership placements of both of Mars, right, and what he has power and dominion over in your sky, well, he is the dominion lord or power lord of your 3rd house of siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, and nieces and nephews, for example, or online stuff that you do. So you could be killing it in the online world. And he's also the connecting point, or the planet that owns that career and reputation house. So it does look like those are venues for where some of the prosperity may emerge, right? 10th house can be father figures, patriarchal figures, men that you look up to as masculine, patriarchal in quality, or whatever you want to call it. And Mars is the ruler of that part of the sky, of the house of the father, is what I mean. So again, a father figure could bequeath money or whatever. Father figures don't have to be fathers or grandfathers. It could be like, you married a father figure. I mean, it's weird ways money can come in that way as well. And I'm just pondering. Okay. Mercury rules your money luck house, and that's the house he rules your lucky money house, your fifth, and he rules your eighth house of chunky money. And as Mars goes there connecting with Jupiter, that may also be a story that has something to do with chunky money through money luck, speculation, gaming, lottery wins. You know, Mercury's in an elemental air year. I'll be doing a video with Gary Caton recording a few days from now, and it'll come out. We're going to talk about what it means to have Mercury mostly only like 6 months out of 12 focused in the earth signs. And it's going to be very good for our resources. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And just so you know, Aquarius, I mean, Mercury, when he is in Virgo, your chunky money house, is going to be during, and drum roll please, August 23rd to September 15th. And I've already told you that Jupiter blesses that house as he connects to Mars before that, around the end of July, last week of July, beginning of the first week of August. And then in comes Mr. Negotiating, Marketing, and Merchandising dude, and also negotiating and legal affairs contracts, Mercury, starting on August 23rd to September 15th, where you may be negotiating land, property, real estate, money, finances, inheritances, stock investments, whatever, big money stories going on for you, even from July 28th to October 5th. And you still have the blessings of Venus at that time in your seventh house of legal affairs and contracts that you sign. So all looks really exciting for you in this area of your sky. And lastly, other videos I've talked about it, but it's obvious that we've been under duress by having Saturn transiting through our first house. I'm born with that and I'm used to it. It's part of my nature. It's in my first house when I was born on the ascendant, but holy moly, it's been tough. So we know that we have felt super adult, super responsible, super beleaguered, super dutiful, super sober. Oh, it's been heavy energy. And now finally, Saturn leaves in March. So all this is happening without Saturn in our first house. We'll be more responsible and focused on making money in a reliable way, but that's other video content. But Saturn can depress or restrict our money earnings in the second. So this chunky money could be the saving grace. Next, first, but always first. And you're in the live premiere and you're still hanging in there. All you, my fave people there. One Wise Lady and Jupiter the Jupiterian, Stephen the Jupiterian, and Mercury with the Message. I love your names. One Wise Lady, One Rare Bird, L.A. Taylor, Misbehaving from Scotland, and I'm like Kelly K, one of my favorite supporters, who's always like super chatting me with some bonus money or tips. Thank you so much, Kelly. These are my people. There are names I am forgetting. I just remember the more flavorful names with all the kind of cool things in them. You know, Pretty Dark is one of my longtime followers. She comes in now and then. And other people that are returning. So thank you for being here in my chat. Shout outs to all of you if you're still watching the premiere with me in the chat box. Okay, firstly, but always first, is Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I have had such gnarl with doing that expression that Pisces hate because they don't want to be LAST. I don't say it in front of them. Okay, dudes and dudettes. Jupiter's your Lord, right? Lord of Pisces, Lord of Sag. This is traditional rulership, not Neptune, not your person. And with this is that Jupiter, who takes care of you, who is your primary chart ruler energy, moving into the sign of Taurus for a year, mid-May of 23 to 24. It's going to be a time in which you're blessed by your siblings, or you have luck and expansion through your siblings, sometimes aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews. You're going to be able to travel and enjoy travel and benefit from travel and study new things that are going to blow you out of the water and create great fortune in skills-based learning and education. And if you're a teacher, this amplifies your success as an elementary or high school teacher, or as just somebody who teaches anything that's instructional and gives people real life skills that they can use. So, right, not a philosophy professor here. And this is a time in which all of this expands. And in the North Node will connect. So not since 1929 with Jupiter in your sibling's house. So it may not be about you. A mistaken perception in modern astrology, I think, is that all the houses are about you and it's a psychological mandala, but really it's not. This is a other people house, childhood friends, siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, and the Jupiter blessing expansion is there. And therefore, other than you traveling more, it could be some big exciting development with a sibling and will benefit you in some way. And if you want to travel, of course, travel will be super blessed and super auspicious when Jupiter is in your third house. Usually it's domestic, like within your country or maybe your continent, certainly not going off to exotic lands, but you are sanctioned for travel mid-May to mid-June, which is going to be very good for you. And if you have an online world where you do business online with a website, this expands it. You may teach as well online, and that's good. And you may have an expansion in your neighborhood, like move to a new neighborhood that really feels blessed. With Venus, however, participating from your sixth house. Okay, and by the way, this can't the Pisces sun, moon, but mostly rising in the first 7 degrees or so, 6 degrees of Pisces get the most boost, gem up and goodness are in the siblings house and the trips and travel, skills-based learning, because the North Node conjunction with Jupiter happens around 3 degrees. Then, so it sextiles your identity, which is very harmonious and lucky as well. Then later on, a little more of my blue tea. Hang on. This is so good. I just love this stuff. I love the lavender. It's got lavender in it, so it tastes like you're drinking a lavender bouquet. Venus is moving through your sixth house of pets, tendencies, debt you may hold. This is your Leo sixth house, your health. I mean, it's the house of sickness, so she can counteract health challenges and make you much more healthy. This is karmic debts and dating. Single Pisces with Venus spending 4 months, June 5th to October 8th in your dating house. Will be dating, romantically dating. You get the dream pet that you fall in love with. You can get a lease or a rental situation that's super auspicious, or you may lease out a property and you benefit financially from that. And so this is anything between June, July, August, September, October 8th is ongoing. And as she's going through that part of your sky, the reason we're talking about her is she makes a 3-pronged contact with Jupiter, applying toward her from the third house of siblings. This could be about leasing a place with a sibling, renting a house from a sibling. This could be buying a pet from your sibling with a sibling. This could be allowing you to eliminate financial debts because of the situation ongoing with a sibling that supports you in some way. And the other thing I'd say is, Venus is like, Venus in the sixth house can bring joyful work, like you're really loving the work you do in the world. And you may find that June, July, August, September, suddenly your employment place or the work you do if you're self-employed feels joyful, feels fun, feels happy for you, feels good, feels pleasurable. Okay. And that's a long transit. But then Jupiter from the third says, and it brings greater possibilities of travel, upgrades of your relationship with siblings, better opportunities for learning, or an upgraded neighborhood. You may expand your hood and move to a better neighborhood, as well as be loving the work you're doing. Now with, Venus in the tendencies house, you may rent the most amazing home in a better neighborhood. All right. For example, and, you're at risk of a relationship severing if your marriage partnership isn't good. And Mars is going through that part of your sky, which he'll be doing, kind of like July 10th to the end of August. And if you're in an untoward, unhappy relationship that it won't make it at the end of the day, Mars can cut that off and end it and cause conflict and endings there, separations. And yet, at the same time, Jupiter will be, especially around the 31st of July, sending beams of love from the third house. So it's a bit complicated. I mean, you could travel with your marriage partner. There's that. Or move to a new neighborhood with your marriage partner. Or there could be an ending with a relationship. It's like a marriage, significant committed love story that then involves somehow siblings, trips, travel, and changes of neighborhood. Those are all possible, but blessed changes. So it works ultimately in your favor because Lord Jupiter has got your back. Mars rules your house of foreign lands, and it could be separating from a partner in a foreign land, ending a relationship with a partner from a foreign land. These are possibilities, not your chart is individual. These are just general statements, right? Mars going through your house of contracts and agreements, ruler of the house of courts. He's fighting for you to get what you deserve in some negotiation or contract that's legal. Possibly that's one of the stories going on there too around July the 31st, a week on either side. I'm just looking at the sky. I mean, Venus is the exaltation lord. Just say she's got special love for your body, of your first house of your body. As she goes through that house of sickness, if you are a Pisces rising, especially, it's really for the rising, and you've been dealing with health challenges, this is going to turn your health around. This is going to move you into a new level of robust wellness. There's no doubt about it. June, July, August, September for the Pisces of the world, rising especially. Anything else to say? Lord Jupiter is the ruler of your reputation and career house, and of course yourself and your body. And of course, he's going to be going through a third house placement. So it could be things like your siblings help you with your career, or your career is going to involve travel or things like that. And yeah, those look very positive. Anything else I'd say? The 3 points at which Venus and Jupiter connect, if I haven't said it for you, I apologize, are June the 10th, August the 21st, and September 10th. And the first one is at 5 degrees of the sign of Leo, 5 degrees of the sign of Taurus. Do you have a rising sign at 5 degrees? Near there, a few degrees on either side, you really feel the goodness of that Jupiter Venus energy around June the 10th, which again, I delineated already. August 21st, Venus is doing the retrogradation in your 6th house. Pets from the past come back to you. Someone gives your pet back to you. Tenancies, agreements come back from the past. Work, people from your colleague, coworker space, or jobs from the past return. Venus retrograding at this point, but with blessed love from Jupiter in your 3rd house. So some positive developments there. And lastly, you have to travel for work, for instance, but you're traveling to a place you've been before, or going back to an old job that you have to change your neighborhood for. And then on September 16th, Venus will conjunct Juno. And the conjunction with the goddess of committed love and business partnerships as well, this commitment, vows of commitment, is going to be happening for you in your 6th house. So this could be a work contract, a commitment, or you're dating somebody and now you're beginning to commit, because that's Venus is going through a dating house. June, July, August, September to October 8th, a single Taurus is a single Pisces rising, especially Sun and Moon secondarily, maybe dating, looking like September 16th with retrograde Jupiter in your 3rd house. And Juno, Venus conjunct direct in your 6th house is about a commitment level in what was a casual relationship up leveling, as for example, or signing a lease or renting a property, and Venus bonifying that and Jupiter supporting it as well. All righty. I hope that was useful. Did you get through this long video with me, guys? Someone said to me I had stamina the other day after one of my long videos, my latest 2023 all signs, and I'm going to own it. I'm going to own the stamina story. I may not do lighting kits well right now because, as I said, apologies, it's packed. Someone told me to put my mic underneath a cloth, which I did. They didn't think the sound was great in my last video. This is a Yeti Blue, but I've had it for several years. Maybe it's losing its force, the force be with you. I thought to get myself a new kind of mic anyway. It's a treat for myself for all my hard work. Maybe one of those cool ones that boom down, so we'll see. At this point, I've had this for years. Maybe it's just at the end of its life. I've had this since 2000, this mic since 2014. That's a long time. So maybe it's just getting old. It's dropped a few times. It's traveled through suitcases. It may need to be replaced, but I think if that's that case, I'll try something new. I've got the cloth under there for the person who kindly suggested it, who might be an audio engineer type, like my son. And anything else? That's it. You guys are here in the chat still. Thank you. Don't forget to check my description box. Sky Reader course starts next March. 8 weeks for intro beginners. Be your own astrologer. Time your best life. You can also sign up for the wait list as well for my Divine Timing Masterclass in February. I do suggest you sign up for the wait list because I sell out before it goes public, and it just goes to the wait list people. And last but not least, I forgot what I was going to tell you. Something about what I'm doing next year. Anyway, set up for my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter, all of the drill. You know what I mean? There was just something I was going to tell you about. Now I forgot completely. Anyway, that's typical end of the day, then end of 2 clients this morning, back to back, then, doing a bunch of other things I need to do, and then doing my video here. Long story short, it's been a long day. I can't believe my throat doesn't give out on me completely. And I probably need to be careful for vocal cord damage. Talking is my job. It's kind of especially I have Jupiter in my 2nd house of speech, a lot of talking, right? All right. Thank you, guys. I love that you were here today with me in the chat. I know that I appreciate you all. I do know that. I do really appreciate you all. I'll actually look forward to connecting. And thanks to my Scottish women, especially LA Teller, for inviting me to Scotland. I definitely am going to be there in the summer of 23. That's my goal. And I hope to meet some of you in person. Thanks, everyone. Take care. And I will see you in my next video, which I have no idea what it'll be. You'll probably be seeing me do the Saturn ingress into the next sign. Pisces is my next longer video for next year's lineup. Thank you. Ciao, ciao.